Good evening and welcome to another episode of the New Spurs podcast. Obviously, we're joining you on Monday and we are extremely happy after yesterday. So this is going to be a great show for you tonight. We will just warn you that my three panelists, if you see them keep looking left during the stream, because I've got three eager fans watching Crystal Palace and cheering Palace on versus Arsenal tonight, so we can give you live updates as this is going on of what is happening at Selhurst Park, and hopefully we'll be getting a few cheers throughout this first half of Palace getting a couple of goals, hopefully. So before we get into this tonight, as you can see on the screen, all the guys have got their Twitter handles on there, so if you want to give any of us a follow, give us a follow. Make sure you get over on Twitter to @COYS.com and give us a follow, where you'll be getting all decent content. There's some great products on that site as well. It's a great app for all Spurs fans. So let's not hang around. Let's get into this tonight and welcome the panel. As you can see, returning tonight after his debut performance last week, and we had to get him back given the fact that last week was a mystic COYS where we all gave our predictions for the rest of the season, and we couldn't not have the full house because we gave a full house in that prediction show of wins. We got it. Jacob, welcome back. How you feeling, mate, after that performance and that prediction?
Yeah, all good. The prediction went down the Kazi quite quickly, but in terms of the performance, first half, I could complain until Ben Davies equalised. Second half, I mean, my kids were just wondering what sort of dad they got because I was going mad in the living room. Do you know what I mean? I was picking up my son and all sorts. Like we'd won a cup final because I was just happy with the performance. So yeah, it was a good performance. Happy with that, and another 9, 8. Or was it 8 games we've got left or 9? If we can perform like that in every game, I don't think there's too many teams in the Premier League that will stop us, bar possibly Liverpool. So onwards and upwards, it was a good performance.
Good stuff, and good to have you back, mate. And obviously returning are the two regulars. So Ryan, how have you been this week, mate? And obviously I'm sure yesterday started the week off perfectly for you, mate.
Oh yeah, couldn't have been better. Like I say, these last 9 games we've got a huge season defining. So to get off to a start like that, with like we spoke about last week, the goal difference, actually going above Arsenal on goal difference, that's started the perfect week for me now. Like Jacob says, let's need to keep the momentum going now and look forward to Villa.
Exactly, and joining Ryan again, as always, a very happy man, was there yesterday as well. Patrick, how have you been, Patrick? Good start to the week for you?
Yeah, I'm fantastic. And then afterwards, we was in the bricklayers. You saw the Kulichevsky.
I saw the videos.
Yeah, in full. So loads of Spurs fans have tweeted and retweeted that. I got followed by quite a few Swedish Spurs fans yesterday as well. So my network's growing and all of that. So yeah, man, really happy. So can't complain, man. I can't complain.
Reaching the continent now.
I'm now followed by Swedish Spurs, and they're quite big over there. So I didn't know we had a fan base over in Sweden like that. So it's nice to meet new people and buck up with new people via the powers of social media. So yeah, man, it's all good. It's all good.
That's it, mate. That's it. It was a brilliant win, and let's not hang around talking about it. Let's get into this one. So I think, as we said there, I think as Jacob said, first half was a little bit of a strange first half for us, wasn't it? Because we weren't playing badly at all, by any means. We weren't playing badly, and we always seemed to be in control of the game. But Patrick, again, one kind of silly free kick to give away on the edge of the box, wasn't it? And then obviously we get punished as usual. Lloris for that goal. Patrick, where do you stand on that from what you saw? Because I think you're behind that goal, aren't you?
Yeah, I was literally. So to be fair, I was in the greatest place. Obviously, it wasn't great that we conceded there, but most of the action in the second half came on our side. So it was great being in the south stand. But Sonny gave away a silly free kick. It was really soft, but it was silly to give it away in such a dangerous area. I don't know, Lloris, it's a tricky one because obviously in the game, at the ground, you only see it once. So I only saw it in real time and I saw it on the TV, but it's, in the big Jumbotron monitors, but it's not the same as watching it at home and being able to rewind it and have the analysis. So I saw things on Twitter saying Lloris is finished, should have done better, should have saved it. But it's a bit harsh. I mean, he did see it late. He did get a hand to it, but you can't really blame the keeper for letting that in. It literally comes at you within the blink of an eye, and you either react to it or you don't. No one can question Lloris's. There's lots you can question about Lloris, but no one can question his reaction saves. He's probably the best keeper at one-on-one shot, not one-on-one, but in terms of reactionary saves, Lloris is up there with the best of them. So I can't really get onto him. Should have never conceded it in the first place in terms of the free kick. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Most keepers, any keeper could let that in, but when you get a hand to it like that, you should obviously push it around the post. So I wouldn't really blame Lloris for that. Defensively, we do seem to be quite susceptible to set pieces, and that's something I'm even though we've been scoring bunches of goals, I'm always worried when we concede a corner or obviously a free kick in a dangerous area, because we're always susceptible to the second ball coming back in, or even obviously being beat on the first one, like against West Ham. So I won't really get onto Lloris. He's been great. Distribution and obviously sometimes decision making can be a bit dodgy, but in terms of saving, he's there's no problem. I mean, there was a moment where he ran out. I don't know if you guys saw it. He literally ran out. He was caught in no man's land. Came to nothing. But I'm like, what the hell are you doing? So sometimes his decision making is still very questionable. But I mean, at his age now, we know what we've got. He's still one of the best keepers out there for me. No one's perfect, so it's just one of them ones you have to ride through it.
Yeah, I think we've always seen, haven't we, Brian, that with Lloris, it's almost a bit like he can go into a bit of a red mist mode, can't he, for say 5 or 10 minutes at certain points. And if he gets flustered or suddenly something happens where he might have been questionable on a goal, it's almost a bit like he has to try and just gather himself, doesn't he? Reset. Because what you can see with Lloris is one mistake can often get followed up by a couple of iffy, like we say, the running out where you're thinking, well, why are you coming for that? He possibly could have done better with the goal, couldn't he? If you're a goalkeeper, if you get a hand to that, you're probably thinking you want to need a stronger hand and be able to push that away. But do you agree with Patrick? Do you kind of think that comes through the wall pretty quick, doesn't it? He does at least get down. Were you putting that one on Lloris, or do you think, again, that it's harsh to kind of blame him in that situation?
No, I was more annoyed with the free kick being given away, to be quite honest. Like we said, it's a daft area. I know they scored from it, but like Pat said, it's come through a crowd of players. He's hit with some power as well from where he's at. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, you've said it yourself. When Lloris makes one mistake in a game, you just pray and hope that he makes a save within the first 5 minutes of that mistake and gets his confidence, because it always seems like he's trying too hard to redeem himself. Once he feels, and you can imagine he's probably harder on himself than any of us fans could be if he feels like he's the one who's made the mistake. So he tries a bit too hard to redeem himself, gets caught running out, and like I say, I think he was given offside in the end, but that could have been given a penalty if he stayed onside and he actually brought him down. So he does need to calm down a little bit, but actually I can't complain. I'd still rather have him I'd rather have Lloris with one leg and one arm over Galini. So I'm just happy we've still got him, to be honest.
Or Joe Hart. God forbid we would have had Joe Hart in goal.
Yeah, well, Nuno definitely wouldn't have been having Joe Hart, would he, compared to their conversation? Joe Hart probably wouldn't have even been getting off the ground for that one, would he, if Nuno had his way? I must admit, I don't think Nuno was the only one potentially not comfortable with Joe Hart playing a minute for Spurs. I must admit, whenever his name was on the team sheet, you kind of thought, let's hope they don't hit one from range here. But Jacob, it was like I say, it wasn't the best of starts for us, was it? We were a little slow out the blocks, but like I say, we didn't deserve to be one down. What was your take on the goal? Where do you stand with the Lloris? I mean, let's be honest here. As Patrick said earlier, we can't really knock Lloris, can he? Because how many games has he kept us in? He is one of the better goalkeepers in the league, I think, for shot stopping. I mean, if you could put a highlight reel of some of his saves together, you'd have some of the most spectacular saves you've seen. We all remember the Champions League one where he manages to keep it from going over the line, almost on the line. And you think, well, how has he managed to keep that out? So do you pin some blame on him there, or are you like the guys and basically saying it's a tough one for a goalkeeper, that?
Yeah, it's tough because I think there's a lot of keepers out there that are setting a high standard. So there is like the boys said, that Lloris is a top goalkeeper, but it's like what you say with football players. You get world class and you get those players that are just that little bit below. So your world class keepers would be like sort of Alisson, Oblak, people like that. Now, Lloris is a top keeper, but he ain't nowhere near that level. But then the next bunch, he's down there because, like you said, shot stopping is brilliant. I just think his decision making, like you said, because it can be a bit rash. And I don't know, for the last sort of 5 years, even when Lloris gets the ball at his feet and he's got to pass it or distribute it, somewhere in your heart it sinks because you don't know if he's going to clear it properly. Do you know what I mean? It feels like he holds onto the ball for a second longer. So, that goal, it's like everybody can say he's at fault, but as a fan, are you a goalkeeper that would have stopped that? Because that ball was coming really fast. For me, I'm looking at that thinking, would I even stop that with my feet, let alone my hands? So it's one of those. I think if you looked when the goal went in, he was having a go at a few of the players, and I think the reason is that I don't think he was happy with the wall because it came through there quite easily. The shot was quite central and then bent its way towards the corner. So I think Lloris was a little bit annoyed that the wall didn't do its purpose, but again, the ball came on his side and he should have saved it, really. 9 times out of 10, Lloris saves that with a stronger arm. I just think it's difficult because I hate going in goal. A lot of people don't like being in goal, and it was a ball that was fizzed in. And, if it wasn't a free kick and Shaw has a shot as a normal player, Lloris still might not have saved it because it was a decent enough shot and with decent enough power. So I don't blame him wholeheartedly, but I think it'd be a different conversation if we lost the game. Then I think every single one of us would be blaming him.
Yeah, having been a keeper myself in my younger years, you say you're in a no-win situation there because, like I say, if you're an outfield player, you can make a mistake, misplace a pass, nothing happens. The goalkeeper, the minute you make one mistake, it's in, and you're suddenly being looked at as being to blame. But it's the goalkeeper's law. Whenever you concede, you blame a defender. You always have to get off the floor going, what's going on? You never take the blame as a keeper, even if you've let one through your legs. You've always got a defender to blame for that. So we went one down, and like I say, we weren't bad, but we weren't at it as we could have been, and as we did pick it up in the second half. But I felt one of the most crucial things in that game, going one down, you could feel that a little bit of tension creeping, couldn't you? Thinking, oh, here we go again, Newcastle. Now they've got the lead. It was vital, wasn't it, Patrick, that we got level quickly and before half time, because I kind of think if you don't, that game then turns into a real, the setting at half time is, oh, here we go. This could be tight now. Top four's on the line, but we get straight back in it. And that was vital, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was super vital. We were so efficient because, like you said, Carl, we didn't play badly. I wasn't really worried or troubled with Newcastle. It's not like they had us under pressure. It's not like they were moving the ball around and we couldn't. I've been there against Wolves and Southampton where I'm like, what's going on? We can't even get near the ball.
We were outplayed those nights.
Yeah, exactly.
This wasn't the case like that.
It wasn't the case.
We were in control.
We were in control. We were comfortable. And then all of a sudden, we give away a cheap free kick and we're 1-0 down. So I'm like, But as you know, goals create moments, and those moments can change the game. And all of a sudden, if Newcastle up for it, thank God they weren't. But if Newcastle had their tails up and really go for the jugular, we could be 2-0 down at half time, and then the whole stadium is just feeling airy, and it gets to the players, it seeps through, and before you know it, we've dropped a banana skin and a clanger in the game that we had to win. So credit to the lads, Sonny, Kane, Ben Davis, all the fullbacks, they were bang on it. It didn't let it get to them. And then obviously Son takes a corner, the ball gets recycled, he whips in a fantastic second cross, and then it was right in that danger zone. And pretty much any touch from an attacking or defending player is causing the keeper a problem. And credit to Ben Davis because it was a really good header. And then we're back in the game. So yeah, that's great. And I think they showed a stat that we've taken the most points from losing positions in the Prem this season. So it does go to show that we can obviously go one down and fight back, because there have been times where once you go a goal down, this team is finished and they're not gonna. But now there's that belief that even if we do go a goal down, we're still going to stick to the game plan. And I think as well, what I'm seeing and loving is that there is a game plan. There is an actual style and an identity. And obviously we'll talk about it more in depth as we go on in the show. But yeah, fullbacks bombing on, defenders pushing up. If somebody's pushing
yes! Oops, I forgot.
That's all right. No, don't apologise.
Oh, wow.
That will let you know that Crystal Palace must have gone 1-up in this game tonight at the moment.
I don't celebrate just yet. Is there any chance it could be offside, or with VAR, you just don't know. But
I know. I'm going to make myself feel like a right idiot now.
I don't think there's anything to stop that. That should be. It looks like he's headed it back towards him anyway.
Let's have a look.
Arteta looks stressed.
We are giving you. This is like Sky Saturday here right now, people.
Not even
close to
offside now. Not even close.
It's on. It's 1-0 Palace. There we go. The perfect start. Start.
Well, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Newcastle went ahead, and look what happened yesterday.
That's it.
I know. I'm not to be horrible, not to jinx it, but obviously we just need to be careful and steady here. But yeah, so and funny enough, this is literally the role reversal of us. So we went a goal down. Now it's time for we showed our character and our mettle yesterday. And obviously we're going to talk about individual performances, but as a team, I couldn't fault anyone, even people like Emerson who come in and there was a few doubts and naysayers. He had a fantastic game. I'm just really happy with the team. And I said it before that I was confident we could go on a run. And even to be fair, we've won 5 out of the last 6. Even the game that we lost away to Man United, I still feel we were the better team in that game. And we should have got something out of that. So in the last 6 games, we put in good performances. So there is that level of consistency coming. We're scoring at least 2 goals in most games. The fact that we're now, going into this game above Arsenal in goal difference shows what a goal swing we've had in the last 6 games. I think we scored like 21 or 22 goals.
It's 21 goals in the last 6 games. And we are prolific at the moment in terms of scoring.
That's levels of Man City and Liverpool. And if you keep that up during the season, then that's why they're on like plus 58, plus 60. Because the goals are coming. So, obviously take it game by game, but there's lots to be happy about. Even the most, negative Spurs fan can see that there is definitely something there at the moment.
Yeah, Ryan, like I say, we've had games before where when we've gone behind, you're starting to think, this could be trouble. Or like I say, although we wasn't playing great in that first half, we were so in control. Was you worried at all, or did you just think, right, no, this is purely just going to be a matter of time before we get our opening, we get our goal, and then we take it on? Or was there any moment in yourself where you was thinking, this wasn't what we needed?
No, I weren't. To be honest, I weren't worried. Like you say, I didn't expect the game to go and finish 5-1. I didn't expect us to completely open them up the second half, but I was still expecting maybe a 2-1 win, come out strong second half. Newcastle don't worry me, to be honest. I think in my opinion, they've only got one. They only have one good player starting that game, St. Maximan. Obviously Trippier wasn't there and Bruno was on the bench, so it didn't panic me. The only thing that worried me, I would probably say, is we didn't get Kane as involved as I would have wanted us to in the first half. Obviously, the involvement he had in the second half.
Well, I think that reflects in his performance in the second half, doesn't it? When we started getting him the ball, we see what happens at that point.
Once he gets the ball and he's on song like that, there's just the passing range of it. Obviously, they spoke about it on Monday Night Football tonight, comparing him to the likes of Rooney and Bergkamp and Cantona, creative. But the thing he's probably got on your Bergkamps and Cantonas, maybe not so much Wayne Rooney, but it's not just his passing ability. He's still the best finisher in the league as well. He's got double barrel. I mean, how anyone could complain that Tottenham asked for so much money in the summer from Man City, obviously doesn't watch Harry Kane as much as we watch him. We know what he's worth. To this club alone, he's worth 200 million, never mind the 150 that was labelled out there. He's too valuable. So whenever you've got him on the pitch, even like say Sonny, if he's not putting in a performance, the numbers he's got this season are absolutely brilliant. He's only 6 off the Golden Boot himself. Now he's assists. I think he's about 4 off the top of the assist charts as well. He's as much as he's not performing as well as he has been, his numbers are just as good as probably they've ever been in the Premier League by this state. So when you've got those two on the pitch, and Kulusevski is just slotted in perfectly, like that final piece of a jigsaw puzzle you've been doing for 24 hours. He just goes straight in there, goes up front with those two, and it's as long as we can keep it going, Carl. That's all that matters. Now we lost the momentum because of the international break. Now we've gone and won 5-1. Now this has to go into the next game because we don't want to be here next Monday talking about a defeat. These boys know how much we need Champions League for someone like Kane to stay. If these lads want to challenge, want more players coming in and the best player to stay, these last 8 games are huge. So fingers crossed. Even if we go 1-0 down in a couple of games, yesterday gives you that bit more belief that all right, the lads can come together, they can calm down a bit, clear their heads, get us straight back into the game, and a lot more like that. We should be comfortable most games now.
Yeah, Jacob, we get ourselves straight back in it. And like as you say, as we've all said, we weren't playing bad, but you just kind of felt that we did need to go up a gear in the second half, didn't we? Because the first half, although we weren't playing bad, we weren't creating the sort of chances that we needed to create to open Newcastle up. So we get ourselves level. Was you confident going into the break that once Conte can get hold of them, we come out for the second half a little bit better?
I wasn't overly confident, but I think once I calmed down after the result, I kind of thought, when you're a Spurs fan or any football fan, it's tense, isn't it? Especially when it was a slow build up. We were playing really slow. Harry Kane weren't touching the ball. But when you look at it, it's because you forget about the international break. Because we're used to week on week them performing. Even though we lost to United, we still played well in that. So then, when I look back, I think the only reason is that the boys were just trying to get their groove. I think once they got in with the goal from Ben Davies, it was like I think Antonio had to give him a kick up the backside. But I don't even think he would have gone too mad. I just think they would have all looked at each other and thought, as a player individually, let me step up because, Harry Kane wasn't even dropping. So I think when I look back at the extended highlights that I think Harry Kane was told to just stay up there as a number 9, you know what I mean? Go and get the goals because Newcastle were going to drop deep. And then obviously that didn't work. So as soon as he dropped in and thought, right, I'm going to do what I normally do, they took the mick.
Oh, we've got another goal at Selhurst Park. We've got another goal to tell you about. And Palace again have scored. That makes it 2-0 right now.
Arsenal are officially bottling it.
Wow, look at that.
These guys and
2-0 to Palace at the moment.
But like you said, man, we've seen Premier League games where you're looking at this and then they're just, teams have turned it around. So
it's a great start. It's a great start. It's what we could have asked for. So let's just hope Palace keep this momentum going at the moment.
That's it. So yeah, if I go back to the fixture anyway, the first start, like you said, the first half, right, it was lethargic, but I would have had a bit of taste in my mouth if we'd gone in 1-0 down. As soon as Ben Davies scored that goal, I thought, you know what, we'll get through this. And in second half, as soon as we got that second, I thought, right, we're not gonna smash it, but I'm thinking we've got to get the third, and then we go and get the third, and I'm like, what? And then I'm thinking once we got the third, I thought we're going to slow it down, 4th, 5th. I was like, what? And realistically, I remember looking at a stat at one point. I think we'd had 9 shots on target in the second half at the 80th minute, and we'd scored 4 of them. I was thinking, well, there's nothing to say that we shouldn't have won 7-8. Based on that second half, we could have scored 6 or 7 in that second half. I don't know what happened to Newcastle. David Ginola, hinted at it because he was quite angry, and if I was a Newcastle fan, I would be as well. There was no reaction. There was no reaction to them taking the lead. There was no reaction to the equaliser, and then when we went 2-1 up, they just threw it in the towel. Where I think if they'd given a bit more of a performance, I think if they were in a relegation scrap, you probably would have seen a bit more of a reaction because they'd know that it's a result that they need. But I think they're on holiday at the minute, and they know that they're going to get one more win or one more point that's going to secure them. So, yeah, I was happy with the performance, but the first half was at that very moment. If you recorded me, you would have realised how stressed I was. But when I look back, it was just the cohesion from the lack of seeing each other over the international break. So, as Ryan alluded to, it gives you more confidence that if we go 1-0 down, unless it's against Man City or Liverpool, any other team, I think if we go 1-0 down, rather than thinking, oh, here we go, it's Spursy, I think Conte's changing the way that we're thinking and just stick to the game plan and we'll win it.
Yeah, Patrick, obviously the one man that Newcastle were always going to look for and was always going to be a problem with St. Maximin because, let's face it, cracking player, one that, I wouldn't be adverse to. If we'd signed him at some point, you go, well, this is an exciting player on his day. But I felt we handled him really well. You could really see there was a game plan, wasn't there? That when he got the ball, we were going to basically push him out as far wide as we can, and we were going to go hard on him. This wasn't going to be stand off him. This was get in his face, stick a strong tackle in, and then we'll deal with him that way. And it worked, didn't it?
Yeah, and that's what and that's why I gave a shout out to Emerson, because he's had a lot of critics and a lot of fans have jumped on him. But to be fair, he was ready to take that one-on-one battle with Maximan, and he, of course, you can get toasted and stood up, but he did a really good job. And you see a lot of defenders, like you said, Carl, they're back off a player that quick and that dangerous. Emerson did his job. So everyone's looking over that thing. So yeah, Emerson did his job. It put me off a second. I was thinking, what's going on? Is that another? Yeah, Emerson did his job fantastically. And Romero, such a Rolls Royce of a player. He knew when to bite. He knew when to back off. He knew when to time his interceptions or when to go for the ball. He's such a good centre back. For me, I think, and I don't want to gas him up too much, but I think after Van Dijk, for me, he's probably the best centre back in the league. He's that good. You got to think as well, the guy had 3 months off and he just slotted back in. You know how Kulusevski's come in and slotted in effortlessly? That was Romero. And I think his first game back was against Man City, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was just going to say to you, he still is kind of adapting in a way, isn't he? Because he's missed so much football.
Yeah.
But
A, he's missed so much football. B, this is his first season in a new league. And usually there'd be like Varane. Everyone's saying, Varane's a great player, but he needs time. No one's giving Romero that kind of that kind of grace period, because he's just slotted in. You forget he's brand new to our league. So fantastic player. And Maximan is so dangerous. He's one of those guys you don't want to face one-on-one, because you don't know what he's going to do. He's quick, he can go both ways, and obviously he's got the ball control to skin you alive. But we nullified him, and then essentially we nullified all of Newcastle. And we also, as well, we didn't allow the creative, almost like their Harry Kane, so to speak. I know no one's as good as Harry Kane like that, but John Joe Shelby, for example, we know if he has time and space, he can dictate and spray a pass. The difference with us yesterday is that when James Ward-Prowse had time, or when James Ward-Prowse had the ball against Southampton, we allowed him to look up, pick a pass, set his feet, and boom. We didn't allow none of their guys to do that. So you can see already the mentality is changing. You respect every player you play, every team you play, and obviously you do your business on the other side, and you should win more often than not.
Yeah, Ryan. Also, one player who was vitally important in that first half, and obviously doing that job and making sure everything ticks over, was Bentancur, wasn't he? And what a first half! And again, what a signing, and the way he's come in. I mean, like I say, in that first half, he just does simple things, but so effectively and so well, doesn't he? That help break up the game, but also help get you on the move in attacks. Like I say, he's not spraying your Glenn Hoddle fancy 50, 60-yard passes, but it's those little turns in tight spaces and that control of the ball that can just get you moving and get you out of those situations, can't it?
Oh yeah, he's started off brilliantly for us. I mean, like you say, he's so calm on the ball. Sometimes it scares you how calm he actually is on the ball, because you think, you ain't got that much time. But he gets out of things, and the best thing about him is, like I say, he's always there when we're defending. He's always on the edge of our own box. He's there to clean things up. Because you don't. I think when you watch him, you don't realise how tall he actually is. And he looks. I mean, I remember him getting up against Chris Wood yesterday and beating him effortlessly on the halfway line to win the header. So he's a tall lad, asset for us, defending set pieces and attacking from set pieces. But the difference that he is compared to the rest of our midfielders, I think, is when Newcastle are pinned back into their own area and we have to break them down, he's always looking for that forward pass. As soon as he sees one of those front players available in front of him, he will go straight to their feet and back them up as well. I think too many times with like your Harry Winksers, they'll play it safer. They'll go to a fullback, or they might go back to Dyer or Romero. But he's willing to take that risk, and that's why if he gives the ball away in areas like that, you don't hear the fans moan or groan or get on his back at all, because at least he's making the attempt to push the ball forward, get us closer to the opposition goal. I think he's been perfect for us, and like you say, he's just come back from South America as well, so he's probably feeling a bit jaded feeling a little bit weary. But like I say, the only thing that he did wrong that first off, like we spoke about on Twitter yesterday, was getting involved in that little bust up with your lad. But we've been asking for players like that for so long, haven't we? So a player who's going to fight for the badge, he's not going to shy away from anything like that. And that's probably like Ramiro. I think if it was Ramiro in his situation yesterday, I think we would have been down to 10 men, because I think he would have got up and done something to Joe Linton that wouldn't have been legal, never mind worthy of the red card. So I'm happy it was Bentancur and not Ramiro there. But hey, if these lads can keep doing this is obviously the summer recruitment hasn't turned out great with Galina. Obviously, Emerson's in and out, Hill's out on loan. But this January recruitment, if we could take that into the summer, get more players like that, if we get Champions League football, and anything's possible next season.
Yeah, Jacob, obviously we'll talk about Kulusevski later, but Bentancur has been just as big a piece in the jigsaw, isn't he, to come into that midfield, especially with Skip being out for as long as he has. I mean, the chances are I can't see us seeing much of Skip again this season, maybe say the last couple of games. So having him come in and sit in that position so well as he's done, that is, like I say, you can't put money, you can't value that, can you, for what he's given the team at the moment?
Yeah, he's smooth because, I've heard a lot of fans talking about what he does going forward, but for me, a lot of the stuff that he does going backwards as well is like invaluable. Like there was times where quite a lot, Sam Maximin would have Emerson squared up, and then Romero would come over, but then also Bentancur would come over as well. So Sam Maximin, the amount of times he tried to cut inside, Bentancur was there. If he tried to go through everybody, Romero smacked him out of the way, and then Emerson was just there to guide him down the line. So I think going backwards as well as going forward is brilliant, and it's helped Højbjerg a lot as well, because Højbjerg was under a lot of criticism. But I think with Højbjerg, I don't think Ollie Skip was great, but then once Ollie Skip went out, I think Højbjerg's one of those players that puts all the pressure on himself to do everything, and then I just think he was a lost chicken. So with Bentancur in there, Bentancur allows him to go forward, go backwards. I think we're getting the best out of Højbjerg. We're getting the Højbjerg that we first got because of Bentancur, and we all know in football it's all about partnerships, and if you've got great partnerships throughout the pitch, it works wonders. You look at Dyer, everyone's talking about him. We should have sold him in the summer, but then Romero comes in, all of a sudden he's solid. Dyer's working well with Davis, Bentancur and Højbjerg, like I just alluded to, and then obviously you've got Kane and Son at the top end of the pitch. So, I'm not saying that we're gonna, win titles and stuff like that, but the great teams, especially in the Premier League, have always relied on a good spine and having good pairings in between that. And the best of them was Man United in the 99 season. You had York and Cole, you had Keane and Scholes, and you had who were the defenders then? It would have been, I can't remember now.
Yapstam and
brain's gone dead.
Yeah.
I know Yapstam was there, Ronnie Johnson, but there was a good.
We had May at some point there, but yeah, and I think one of the things when I look at Bentancur and Højbjerg, I think what we're seeing is the partnership developing that Liverpool have right now, because obviously they rely on Trent and Robertson getting so far forward. It's vital that those two in the middle play that role of, right, I know when to go, I know when to drop, I know when to cover, when we can push, when we can't push. And those two are really developing or starting to develop that relationship, aren't they? That understanding.
That's it. And it's like, it's all becoming like a well-oiled machine, because originally we all knew that when Conte came in, we were going to play the 3-5, and it's either going to be a 3-5-2 or 3-4-3. But then it felt like a lot of the players didn't know what was going on. Now it just works like clockwork. Like when I'm watching Tottenham, it feels like what's going to happen. If we've got the ball, we're going to literally play it on the outskirts and then play it into the middle whenever necessary. And if we're up against the cosh, we'll hit you on the counter-attack. So I think Pat alluded to it last week that everybody thinks we're just a counter-attacking side. But if you look at it yesterday, if we're just a counter-attacking side, then it should have been 0-0. But we, essentially for, I'd say, 70 minutes of the whole game, Newcastle were just following the ball around. So we do play decent football. I still believe that we could do with a magician. If we play in that Newcastle game yesterday and you had an Eriksen in there or someone of that ilk, I reckon we go and beat them by the 7th.
9-0. Yeah, it'd be 9-0.
Because Eriksen probably would have handed him. He would have handed himself a couple of goals in there, and Harry Kane wouldn't be dropping as much as we needed Harry Kane dropping off. Eriksen would have been swinging them in for Harry Kane, and he would have gobbled up a hat trick last night. So it's just one of those where we do play good football, and I hope that we get top four, because I think if Levy backs Conte with the way that he's got this group of players set up, God knows what he can do with a war chest and clearances of the players that he don't need.
I called as a counter-attack team last week, and obviously Pat's wisdom, as always, guides me in the right direction. Like I say, the 5 goals we got yesterday, that's not counter-attack. That's football from the back. That's fine. That's why I love working with Pat.
Well, I think at one point in the second half, I think we must have had a spell, and I think it ended up with Winks trying to curl one top bins.
Yeah.
But at that point, I think we kept the ball for something like 40 or something passes, and we starting to build up the old every part. And we've done it, the football and keeping it in the right. It's picking the right times to go, isn't it? The right times, just shuffle it across again now. It's not opening up here. Let's go across, but not panic. Keep it. And yesterday, some of the football for some of those goals, Patrick, we come to you, because that second half. What a second half that was, wasn't it?
Scintillating. And going back to what Ryan and Jacob have said, and what I've been saying previously, it's such a negative and cheap misconception to say that we're a counter-attacking football team. Oh, with Kane dropping deep and Son making runs, you guys, that's all you literally got one route to score. We actually don't. If you look at a lot of our goals, even the last goal against Man City in injury time is 2-2. There was like 30 passes before we scored. It's definitely not counter-attacking football. We actually have a plan, and if it doesn't work on one side, we'll rotate, recycle, and go the other way. And we've actually got quality in all areas now, and we have a game plan, and that's Conte as well, because essentially the cogs are still the same. We've had 1 or 2, but it's just Conte getting the belief from these guys that we can play more than, we should have scored. Damn.
Palace have just gone close again by the looks of it. The boys have got their hands over their heads.
Palace.
Listen, for those who are not watching this and listening to the audio, you cannot believe how tense this is getting. If Ryan's not talking or Jacob's not talking, when one of the boys isn't talking, it is tense. You can feel it.
Just to put into context for people on the audio, 2-0. I'm on 38 minutes. Mateta had a chance to make it 3-0. I think it's game over. Right now, 2-0 is in the balance. The next game is so crucial. If Palace get the next one, I think Arsenal are done. Obviously, if Arsenal get the next one, it's 2-1. It's game on. So it's so tight at the moment. But yeah, just going back to what I was saying, we definitely play more than one type of football. I'm loving it, man. I just think, if we get top 4, which we all said is doable, and we all said we believe it, Conte will stay, Kane stays, and Daniel Levy has to back Conte. We get in 3 or 4, get rid of a few guys that are on the peripheral, like your Winkses, maybe your Bergwines, I don't know, Davinson Sanchez, and we get the players that Conte really wants. We can be a real force next season. Because even now, you're starting to see teams are worried. And obviously, rival fans and pundits, they're now saying that Tottenham looks serious again. So, yeah, it's going well.
Well, we're seeing, aren't we, Ryan? Like I say, when we talk about the summer, and obviously next season we'll throw in 5 subs. So there is an element of getting the squad depth right, isn't there? Because you'll be given the opportunity of bringing more depth on from the bench next season. But we've seen, haven't we? If you get, let's face it, this turnaround has come off the back of just signing 2 players that were the 2 right players. And this means, you stop buying your French under 21 wingers and buy the players that you need for the right moment in time. Again, that's 2 players, and look at the difference they've made to the squad. Now, Doherty and Emerson have done brilliantly over the last few weeks, haven't they? But you still kind of feel that an upgrade in those positions, and that just takes the team to another level altogether, doesn't it?
Oh, massively. Like I said, there's plenty of positions that we could upgrade. I mean, obviously, you're talking about the 5 subs in the squad. I mean, I think that's why it's massive when we get skipped back, not for him to go straight into the first 11, but it's someone who will then push Bentancur and Højbjerg to keep their performances going. And because they know now they've got someone on the bench who Conte, you've seen in interviews, you've heard him, he loves Skip. That's why he's been given his new contract. He's he really rates Skip highly. So those two have got to keep fighting, keep playing as they are. Otherwise, one of them could be out the team. But Doherty, the likes of Doherty, Emerson, Davis, players like that, they could come handy as squad players. Like I say, the players you could upgrade on and players that we hope we upgrade on. But if you get Champions League, then that's 4 competitions we'll be in next season. You need that squad depth. And like I say, 5 substitutes could come huge in certain games if we're struggling towards the hour mark, 70th minute. If you've got 2 or 3 dangerous players to bring on, I mean, Lucas obviously didn't start yesterday, but when he came on, you know you're going to give him the ball, and the Newcastle defenders, they know exactly what he's going to do. He's not going to go backwards. He's not going to just run side to side or pass it side to side. He's getting the ball when he's direct. He will run at you and he will try to create more. So when you've got players like that who you can bring on, it's a lot easier for us. So I think Conte will be here next season. I think Harry Kane will be here next season as well. I think, like I say, if we get Champions League, it's absolutely massive because it opens a few more doors for us to bring in certain players. I mean, like I say, the transfer window is not even open yet. We've been linked with Dybala on a free in the summer, Lautaro Martinez again in the summer. See, that's an avenue of how you keep someone like Harry Kane here. It's very similar to that old Teddy Sheringham situation when he left for Man United. He wanted the board and the club to buy players, bring players in so we could challenge. That's all Harry Kane wants. He wants to see his boyhood club bring in players, and he wants his club to succeed more than Daniel Levy ever could want this club to succeed because he's a Tottenham fan, he's a Tottenham boy. Give him it. Build a team around Harry Kane with players. Obviously, it's very hard to buy players similar level to Harry Kane, but buy players who could play with Harry Kane, who could complement Harry Kane and Son, Bentancur, players like that. And like Pat said, Jacob said it before, next season, you never know what could happen with this manager and a good squad.
Yeah, Jacob, because that second half, that kind of shows us, doesn't it, where we're going. That kind of shows you the sort of football that we want to be playing. It, like I say, the first half was a little bit sluggish, but that second half, we upped the tempo. As you say, Harry Kane started getting on the ball a little bit more, and then he started to dictate the play, couldn't he? And that second half, we just blew Newcastle away, and they couldn't cope with the movement of that front three, and with Harry supplying the bullets. No one stands a chance today. That front three, the way they're playing at the moment, I don't think there's a defence in the country that wouldn't have a sleepless night knowing we're coming up against Kane, Son and Kulusevski tomorrow.
That's it. Yeah, I agree. Like you said, I think the only teams that are set up to deal with Harry Kane and Son, if they're Kulusevski, if they're on fire, is Liverpool, just because Liverpool obviously are a world-class side, but they play a 3 in midfield that are just dogged, unless they're playing Thiago. If they play Henderson, Fabinho and say Naby Keita, I think between the 3 of them, if Harry Kane drops off, they do a job on him. And then if Harry Kane decides to stay as a number 9, they've got 2 very good centre-halves. But by that, I think, if them 2 can keep on song along with Kulusevski, and everybody else does their job, I don't see why we can't go on and beat everybody. It's just a wicked front three. Lucas Moura, to be fair, I feel sorry for him, because if Kane and Son had sorted out their act and they were playing well at the beginning of the season when Lucas Moura was, then I don't think he loses his place, because he was our best player while them 2, for whatever reasons, were out of sorts. And it feels like as soon as they pick up their form, we bring in Kulusevski. Moira has 2 or 3 average performances and loses his spot. So, if everybody clicked in at the same time, Kulusevski might have been the one on the bench and we probably would have been higher up in the table. But, the front three, they're definitely the most informed front three. Liverpool's front three, whichever 3 they put out, is always formidable. But because they've got so many attacking options, we don't even know who their front 3 is anymore, because Jurgen keeps moving them around. So I think, you take Liverpool out of the equation, I don't think anyone's got a better front line than us, especially on form. I don't think anybody has. So it's good to see that. It's just we just need it to continue. We can't, like I think it's yourself, Cole, that alluded to it, that there's no point in us battering Newcastle 5-1, watching match of the day, all the highlights, and then going to Villa Park and dropping points because it kind of devalues the result that we just had as well as the performance. If we can perform like that against Aston Villa again, I don't see, even if Aston Villa pick it up by 50%, I just don't see them beating us.
Yeah, let's talk about Villa away then, because like I say, this will be again another challenge for us, won't it, Patrick? Where you sit there and say, Villa are out of sorts at the moment, aren't they? But then they're not a side you can take lightly. I think, again, when we did our prediction show, Villa away was one where I'd put us down to lose that game. And I'm thinking the form we're showing right now, hopefully that's going to prove me massively wrong. When I did that prediction, we weren't in this sort of form. But this is another layer marker down, isn't it, this weekend when we come and go to Villa away? Because, again, another strong performance and good win there. You kind of sit there and go, I'm not going to try and disrespect the other teams we're playing, but you kind of think Villa away, that's one of the tougher games we've got coming up for the rest of this season, that you think this could be a banana skin. So this would be a real, again, a stake in the ground, wouldn't it, performance if we get a win there?
100%. And I said it on the clip that you put out during the week that Newcastle, I expect us to win, but we need to respect the opposition. Newcastle have always been a bogey team for us, especially at home. They always somehow either beat us or they fluke a result. Yesterday was a completely different animal. And I think with Conte as a manager, it sounds so silly to say because it's the same players realistically, but a manager really instills that belief, that discipline. And Conte's up and down that touchline. He doesn't take no shit. No one can slack off for 1 millisecond. And you see it. We respected Newcastle, but we also put them to the sword. And I expect us to do the same against Aston Villa. Aston Villa were a good team on their day. They've got some very good players in that squad. But I expect us, with our quality going forward and with Conte as a manager, I don't see why we can't dispatch them 3 or 4 or even 5 again. At the moment, we're playing such free-flowing football. The fullbacks are even pushing forward. Everyone in that team believes they can get a goal now. Like you even see Romero getting into the box. You see Eric Dyer busting the gut to get into the. Everyone's trying to push forward and get on the score sheet, which is fantastic. And I put us down for a win. Again, I'm not trying to be cocky or big-headed. I think we'll win. I think we'll win quite comfortably as well, without trying to jinx it. I just think we're in really good form. And I said it even like when we played Man United, we lost the game. But I saw a lot of signs there to say we're on the right track. And then since then, we've been building and building. And obviously, wins build confidence. Someone like Bergwijn coming in and scoring again, that's also going to breed confidence. Lucas Moura having a cameo, he played well. Things are starting to click. So, Villa will be tricky. But, I mean, you saw what Arsenal did. I'm expecting, I hope they just, Villa are literally on the beach right now, aren't they? They're done.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They got nothing to play for other than pride and all of that. So, we have everything to play for. Hopefully, we just go there and get the job done. Just keep it. And I think, again, with people like Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, they're at that age now where they know what they need to do. And they just get everyone else on the same, track or same hymn sheet. Hugo Lloris as well at the back. And just get the job done and then move on. Eric Dyer as well. People forget Eric Dyer is now a seasoned pro. You saw him coming out and talking, saying Conte makes no training session easy. Every training session, he makes it uncomfortable, which means it forces you to grow. And he is, for me, he's probably our unsung hero because we're not talking about him anymore, which means he's having good games. So he's just getting the job done. Usually when you're talking about a centre-back, it's because they're not doing well. They're messing up. Eric Dyer used to get caught sleeping and he was always all over the place. He's quietly become a very good player. Again, he always was, but it's back in there. So, I expect us to win. Every game's difficult until it's won, isn't it? But I expect us to win. And to be fair, I think we'll win quite comfortably, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, Ryan, I mean, like I say, I predicted a little while ago, when I did my running, that this could be one we'd slip up in. But I have to say, the form at the moment and the way we're playing has given me a bit more confidence where, I don't think we will slip up in this game. Are you going into this? And we should be rightly, given our form, but are you going into this one confidently?
I am, yeah. I mean, the manager we've got is just, he is different gravy. I mean, I think that's something that that myself definitely, I forgot to say last week, that one of the other things we've got to look out for is like a Steven Gerrard, who will look at Antonio Conte and want to beat his side to beat Antonio Conte's side, because that's good for him. If he could get his team to tactically beat Conte's team. That's another little win for Steven Gerrard on he's obviously his new manager, but he would love to leave that game and say, look, my tactics have just beaten Antonio Conte's tactics. I've outdone Conte in this game. So that's always going to be another bit of added pressure to the side. But I mean, Matt Doherty came out yesterday and he said on This Manager, we don't feel any pressure, which is good. I mean, it shows for Matt Doherty. I think he's got 5 goal involvements in his last 6 games. So whatever the manager's doing, it's working.
Bro, it's 6. I think it's 6. 4 goals, 2 goals and 4 assists, something like that. I think it's 6.
6 in 6, is it?
Yeah, 6 in 6.
That's what I mean. Look, I mean that just the confidence for him. I mean, at the start of the season, you would have never have put
the ball was bouncing off his feet. He didn't even want the ball. As soon as the ball was passed to him, it was like a hot potato because you could just see the world was on his shoulders and he just didn't look comfortable. It's like he didn't want to be there. Now he looks like the guy we signed from Wolves, if not better. So
yeah, I mean,
you even look at his face as well. Do you remember when like Matt Doherty would do something really stupid and the camera would be put in his face? You'd look at him and think, you just look so pissed off, mate.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's confidence. For I mean, look at that. I mean, 2 months ago, you would have never have seen him at the back post because he just wouldn't have busted got to get in there to score that goal. And I mean, I do put it's an assist for Kane, yeah, but I think Kane was trying to find Son. But he's there. That's what you want from your player. He's there to capitalise on a bad touch from Son or the ball getting in. I think that's probably the major key, as well as the likes of Harry Kane and Son winning the games. This manager we've got is a world-class manager. He is unbelievable I'm still shocked that we've got him after the chase in the summer. Now he's here. That's our manager compared to Arteta and Ragnick and David Moyes is levels above those. Now the team just have to keep doing what they're doing. They have to keep listening to his tactics, listening to his advice, putting in the effort in training, because you just feel like as a manager he's somebody who takes training that serious. It could decide whether you're in the first 11 on Saturday or Sunday or on the bench. So as long as the boys keep working, keep getting fitter, because they look fit. All the lads look fit. Obviously, we went from Pochettino days to outrunning every side in the league to the Nuno, Mourinho, Ryan Mason era that was more sit back, relaxed. Now the boys look a bit fitter. They look hungry. And hopefully, like I say, the boys must want him there in the summer. This will hopefully push us to that top 4. They want him there because they know he will improve you as a player. And now it's up to the lads to keep doing that for us. So I don't think we'll lose to Villa, like Pat said already. That fingers crossed and just lay down for us like they did Arsenal. Give us a bit of an easy weekend. But if they don't, I still think we're good enough to go to Villa and beat them. Like I say, an early goal again, hopefully. We seem to get early goals away from home at the minute that puts the opposition under pressure. So, listen, I'm confident in the boys at the minute. So let's hope they can get the job done. I think they will. They're comfortable as well, actually, like Pat said. I think another 3 or 4 goals in that game if we want it.
Yeah, Jacob, obviously, I say, Conte has got us suddenly now looking and, playing to a system, and he has got those players that kind of were on the fringes or, getting games but not looking confident, playing like Doherty, Royal. Obviously, like I say, we see when he steps in at the weekend, suddenly comes on, has a good game, scores a goal. You got Bergwijn coming off the bench, who'd had a good international break, and he carries that on. Do you just see that, again, we'll take this into the Villa game? Do you see any slip-ups, or are you like the other 2 guys and confident that we're going to go into this game and get the job done? And just like I say, we've got these cup finals to play. We will get these cup finals over the line. We just
need to start quickly. I think it was Brighton we played at, where we started off quite quickly and it got to the point where we just dominated the game. We weren't too fussed about Brighton, who is another team that are on the beach essentially. So I think if we go there and just play the same way we've been playing, now if Aston Villa thought we were a counter-attacking side, they'll clearly see we're not. So they're not just going to drop deep and they're not going to push up. I think the way we approach games confuses oppositions because we can do it both ways rather than one. So I think if we just approach it properly, I think with Villa and Steven Gerrard, I still think they're trying to figure out who's the best formation. When they try a formation, the player lets them down. They have got players that can cause problems like Danny Ings, Ollie Watkins, Coutinho. But I think with Coutinho coming in, as soon as they came in and they had that buzz because they had, effectively a world-class player. But then now it's like he's lost the buzz and so have they, and it just goes back to Aston Villa. Like sometimes you even forget that they've got Coutinho because, me being in the Midlands especially, that's all I heard about Coutinho going to Villa, which I thought was a coup. But then he's gone quiet and probably proved that's the reason why he's gone to Aston Villa instead of a top 6 side. I just think if we start quickly, if we go there and say, right, we're Spurs, we're challenging for the top 4, we want to put pressure on Arsenal and, drift away from United and West Ham. If we stamp that authority down and score early, then I think it's a foregone conclusion, because if we control possession and take the lead, that's brilliant. And then if Aston Villa come onto us, like I said, we've got another way of playing, so we just pick you off in the counter-attack. So I think Conte's got the right mix, and as long as we can keep the same lineup, maybe bring Reguilon back. I'm not sure what was up with him. I think he's got a slight knee knock. But if we can get that balance and put Matt Doherty back into the position that he normally plays, then I think, it might not be comfortable, but I think we'll win.
Yeah, Patrick, obviously, if Reguilon was fit, given the performance yesterday, would you change anything, or would you keep, Doherty and Emerson, given the confidence they probably will have picked up from that game yesterday and both scoring?
I would keep it the same, to be honest. Why, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And the fact that you got Reguilon on the bench, if someone's looking tired or someone does get a knock or you need to change things up, then you obviously can bring on a player of Reguilon's quality. I know he's not been great per se over the last month or so, but he's still a good player, if we're being fair. So yeah, keep it as it is. It worked perfectly against a tricky Newcastle team. I know we in the end we battered them, but Newcastle are no slouches, and they came to play. You could clearly see they were up for it until obviously we just showed our quality and put them to bed. So keep it as it is. Like I keep saying, it's almost a cliche, but it's true. Respect the opposition, but go out there, have fun, and just show what you're good at. Show what what we can do. And I think we win quite comfortably, to be fair. Son, Kane, Kulusevski, we've got too much there for those guys. And then obviously Bentancur pulling strings. I love Bentancur because he's always he breaks the lines with his passes, or he'll pull 2 people in, and then all of a sudden there's so much free space somewhere else. It's almost like the game slows down for him. It's so you don't find many people with that quality on the ball, because he's not lightning quick, but he always seems to have a second more than the other players around him. And then he can just obviously, like, there was 2 or 3 times yesterday where he threaded a pass and it was so like inch perfect, and he took out like 2 or 3 players with just one move. And when you got someone like that, it just opens up the whole pitch. And also I really liked as well, watching from like a bird's eye view, you could see both wingers were touched tight to the white chalk, so really spreading the pitch, making it as big as possible. And it just gives Kane that option to spray left, right, through the middle. And obviously Son making runs, Kudu making runs. Do the same thing again, home or away, and we should be all right.
So let's go for predictions then. Let's go around the table. So Ryan, prediction for Villa away, what are you going with?
4-1.
Oh, he has gone confident and big. Look at that. There is no hesitation.
Chest is out. Chest is puffed up. I'm going 4-1 Spurs.
Massive. Jacob, what are you going with this weekend?
I'm going to go with... What day are we playing on? The Saturday?
I think Monday, though, isn't it, actually?
Saturday R5, isn't it?
Saturday R5.
Saturday R5, sorry, yes.
I'm going to go over 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
Good result. Patrick?
3-1. I'm going to stick to what I initially thought when I did all my predictions. 3-1. So, 3-1. I think it'll be 2-1, and then we just turn the burners on and just, comfortably put them to bed.
Yeah, do you know what? After the recent form, I'm going to go against my early prediction of a loss here at the weekend, and I'm going to go for a 2-0 win at the weekend. Another clean sheet.
Don't you jinx us, Carl.
I know.
Remember what you said last week?
Yeah, maybe you just think I'm sticking with your initial prediction.
Your prediction, mate.
I'm going to ignore this one.
The confidence. I'm feeling the energy now. I'm feeling the energy. So just before we sign off, there was one more thing that happened at the weekend that I thought, got a lot of traction on Twitter and thought something we'd just quickly discuss and get some views on, and that was that at the weekend, obviously, the Tottenham Supporters Trust actually did a little bit of a protest with the Spurs LGBT, and this was to kind of protest against the Newcastle ownership and saying that, you know, human rights are not for sale. Patrick, obviously you didn't see it, even though you was there. So,
Yeah.
you know, this wasn't a mass protest, but this is a bit of an own goal, isn't it, from a supporters trust, that when you consider at the moment, you know, the club have not been willing to extend season ticket renewals to help the fans and help those that might need that help. The trust haven't been that vocal or seem to want to get involved in any protests against the club, even be it via the Super League, or when, you know, it was, you know, things weren't looking great and fans wanted an ENIC out protest. The supporters trust haven't wanted to put their name to anything. So is this a bit of a major own goal on their part to suddenly show up at a game? And if they're going to do that against Newcastle, well, then we need to, surely they've got to be there against Man City, haven't they? You know, all these other clubs, you know, and if Chelsea get these new owners in, this was just a major not reading the room, was it?
Yeah, or there's something very sinister and fishy going on behind the scenes. Because why, like you said, Carl, why now? We've had, you know, when we got rid of Jose before a cup final, ended up losing that cup, took ages to get a manager in. We were literally getting pied left, right, and center. We were literally the laughing stock of social media and media outlets worldwide, because no matter if it was true or not, they were just leaking every day that we got rejected, even by like Gattuso, this person, that. We were literally a laughing stock. And of course, some of it was exaggerated, but you can imagine how Spurs fans felt. We felt humiliated. Then we brought in Nuno, who was like plan or choice Z. Things started off okay, then went to pot. There's been so many times where legitimately we had a cause for concern and a real reason to protest. You know, losing the cup final last year again, it was how many years without a trophy. These are real moments where we should have really come together as a fan base. And there were people out there saying that we should get together. And like you said, the trust didn't want anything to do with these legitimate times of action. Season ticket prices obviously going up. Then, like you said, Carl, not extending it when it's the tightest time it's been for so many fans ever. Energy prices going through the roof, cost of inflation, petrol, all of these things that, you know, we don't really want to talk about here, because this is a time where we forget all of that and enjoy just football, and it's a distraction. Yeah. But if we're being real, these are real life things that affect us anyway on a day to day. And the trust have never got involved in any of that. But now they want to talk about, you know, human rights and Saudi ownership, when it's just odd. It's really odd. And I just, like Carl, to be fair, I didn't even hear about it like that. And I was there. I'll go to every home game. I didn't really see. So they didn't get the traction they wanted. But it's just really odd why they decided to pick this one and run with it, as opposed to the real life Spurs issues. So we will find out in due course, because we always do, what the real reason behind this was. But definitely seemed a bit odd for me. And I just don't get why now and why this.
Yeah, Ryan, you know, obviously, let's say when your supporters trust don't seem to get behind serious concerns of your own fans, but then seem to show up to kind of protest against another club's ownership, they've kind of, you know, this won't help their cause, will it? Because it's something that there's a lot of fans are dubious about how much they get behind to want to help the supporters anyway. So this is just, again, another, you know, cross against their name, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. If somebody wants to protest something that they feel strongly about, then by all means protest and do what you feel you can to solve the situation. But it's just like you said, like Pat said, they need to look at their own doorstep at the same time. There's a lot going on in their own club for their own fans. I mean, obviously now the stadium's bigger. They've got 60,000 Spurs fans in there at home every week, and the prices are, I think, the highest in the Premier League.
They are,
if I'm right.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, definitely.
They are.
Like
They definitely are.
There's so much happening outside of football at the minute as well that they could help the fans with, help to keep, because some fans, like I say, with the prices that's going around at the minute, there's probably a lot of fans who will have to give up a season ticket to keep roofs over their heads and bills going in. So they need to also, like I say, protest against Newcastle. That's fine if that's what you want to do, and it wouldn't be such a big issue if the supporters of your club felt like you were doing things to help them. I mean, if they did things for us as well, they might have had a few more numbers at that protest yesterday that they did. If the Tottenham fans felt comfortable with what they were doing for their own fans at their own club, then you never know, you could have got higher numbers. But to protest against that, like you said, Carl, it just puts something out there now that when Man City come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, their owners do different things. The new Chelsea owners that could be coming in, they could have to do the same for them. I mean, you've got to concentrate on your own club to begin with, and then, like I say, anything else you want to protest is absolutely fine. That's your decision. With the Saudi owners, it's if you do not like how they operate, if you do not like how they run in a certain way, that's absolutely fine. You can protest, you can get your thoughts out there, tell everyone how you feel. But as a Tottenham Hotspur supporters club, they need to start looking at their own doorstep a lot more than they do someone else's.
Yeah, I think Jacob, one of the things that I think upset a lot of people was the fact that they weren't prepared to do something like this with a season ticket price, not renewals not being extended. Mm-hmm. And you kind of do just feel, don't you, that if at that point they'd said, well, okay, we're going to perform a little protest at the next home game around that the club should have listened to us and extended that, then if they got involved with something like this, people would be more accepting, wouldn't they? And say, well, yeah, okay, because we've got a trust that basically when the fans are not done right, they'll get involved and they'll stand up. But the fact that they didn't want to do something like that for season ticket renewals or when the club was going through a bad time, it was obviously going to backfire, wasn't it? What they were trying to plan to do this weekend.
You wouldn't be surprised if someone in the trust is getting a little backhander from Daniel Levy saying, look, don't do no protests and, just protest about other things.
100.
You know what I mean? For me, it's like when it comes to protesting and stuff like that, it's like I said, I'm not really bothered whether you're on a protest or not, whether you think it works or not. That's up to you. But it's like you got to keep the same energy. If it was someone like me and I wanted to protest, I don't know, against racism or something, then that's something I hate. There's loads of other things in the world I hate along with racism. So then I'd go and protest against that as well. But I think we live in a society now where people don't keep the same energy. It's like when you've got, for instance, Zuma in the cat incident, it's like the whole world, even the Prime Minister's coming out talking about cats. But then as soon as Antonio comes out and says, keep the same energy when it comes to racism, everyone's talking about, oh, don't bring race into it. It's a flipping cat. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you got to keep the same energy. With the trust, it's like when you showed me that, I looked into it. I just don't understand it. It's like I understand if that was our owners, or whatever. But you'd like to think in the future, they're talking about these Saudi Arabia and all this stuff. Well, what are the trusts going to do if someone from Saudi Arabia wants to buy Tottenham of Daniel Levy's hands and he can afford it? And they can afford it. This $3 billion that's been touted out. If someone from Saudi Arabia says, all right, then we'll give you 4 million, are you still going to protest or are you going to be happy that Tottenham are going to go levels? For me, you just got to be wary with that. I agree with every single one of you that if you're going to protest about that, protest about all the stuff that's been going in-house, because this trust has been there for years and effectively Tottenham haven't been doing what they should be doing, considering all the efforts, all the coaches, all the money that we've had in and out, all the supporters. It's not a divine right to say that what we've been doing allows us to go and win titles and cups and leagues and European trophies, but we should be doing a lot better than where we are. But the trust seems to be sitting on there, which makes me think that someone's getting a backhanded to keep their mouth shut.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of what the trust do behind the scenes is some good stuff for the supporters, but I just think they've misread the room there. When they haven't helped their own fans protest against certain things, to then show up against something else, I think that does leave a bit of a bad taste and possibly a little bit of an own goal for them there. But anyway, we'll move on. Better things to talk about. So, guys, just to wrap up now, the second half's about to get underway, so I'm not going to hold you boys back. We've done enough Soccer Saturday and given everyone an update. It's still 2-0, just after half-time.
If
watch
one
the
goes
end of the game.
longer.
Yeah.
If Arsenal score, we're going till full time, yeah?
Yeah. So I'll just wrap it up by thanking the guests. So again, Jacob, brilliant to have you back on, mate, and hopefully you'll join us again soon.
Yeah, 100%. You know, like I said to you all, Ryan knows, Pat knows as well. I love talking football and predominantly Spurs. And, you know, whether it's with you guys, whether it's with Ryan on the Friday night, I do it on my own as well. You know, I've got my own little thing, hence the Twitter handle in the bottom corner. So I plan to just continue doing what I'm doing and talking about football and Tottenham. And that's pretty much it.
Nice one, mate. Ryan, appreciate you joining us again tonight, and you'll be back again next Monday.
Yes, definitely. And just remember, everyone, we managed to rest Aaron Goals at the weekend, so hopefully he'll be back for the big important player for the club. So you never know what could happen. But no, I love it. Like I say, Jacob, I do shows with every Friday. He's a brother, and I love working with Jacob. Same as Pat. Pat's wise words always keep me in line, keep me ready for the next show. And obviously, Carl, since you've come on, it's been great having you host the show as well. I love Mondays are my favourites at the minute, so let's hope the boys can keep winning for us to keep happy on a Monday.
Great stuff. And Patrick, be back again next Monday, bringing that same energy.
Hopefully, man, and hopefully we'll be talking. Yeah, I mean, if things carry on as they are, I mean, yeah, without talking too much, we could be actually above them with, you know, goal difference and points on the board. So long may it continue. All we got to do is win our games, and you never even know. Chelsea, I didn't mention it because I didn't really get to mention it, but Chelsea got one eye on the FA Cup and one eye on the Champions League. So, you know, we're not that far off them if we can keep winning our games. No one's talking about it. It's only fourth. But if we just keep doing our thing, the league opens up. As you know, wins change things. 3 points every week, and all of a sudden you're in a much better place. So, you know, I'm not saying we'll get there, but as long as we keep doing our job, we might not have to just worry about fourth place, which is where we want to be. So, yeah, always a pleasure working with you guys. Always have fun. It's great to hear different top, you know, football analysis and insight from all different Spurs fans. And long may the winning run continue, so we can all just be happy and keep talking our talk.
That's it. That's hope we keep sticking those W's like we did in our prediction show. And until next Monday, we shall see you all again soon. Come on, you Spurs.